We're back with you now on Wave Listens Live. Our next segment, so important for those out there in our audience who may be suffering from symptoms of neuropathy. I have Dr. Doug Kane here from Cornerstone Wellness, who is a wealth of information on this subject. And it's always good to see you. Good to have you here.
Always great to be here, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about a good overview for anybody that hasn't seen us together in a while and needs a refresher.
Sure, great. So when we're dealing with peripheral neuropathy, the simplest way to describe it is the nerves just aren't working properly. They're not sending proper information to the brain. This can affect any nerve in the body, but most of the time with our patients, we're dealing with neuropathy in the feet. Why the feet? Well, they're the farthest away from the heart, so the blood pressure is lower, the temperature is lower, we don't get quite as good circulation to the nerves there, and about 10 to 15% of our patients, the hands are also affected. Oddly enough, with chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, we tend to see the hands first before the feet. So that's usually what it affects the most, hands and feet, and the kind of symptoms that they experience is, for most people, is excruciating pain. Just can't bear to get up and walk or stand or walk through the grocery store or even stand in the kitchen long enough to cook a meal. Other people, it is, they feel like their feet are on fire or they feel like they're just frozen solid. I mean, it's extreme examples that they, just like I said, that they explain to us. It's a little hot or a little cold. It's just extreme. You're frozen or on fire. Pins and needles. Sometimes they feel like there's insects crawling and they just itch. And then we'll have people that have complete lack of sensation, which we would experience as complete numbness. And for those people, the big issue is it's a fall risk. If they can't feel their feet, they're not aware if they're losing balance. And so we'll see patients that have broken hips or broken shoulders, or unfortunately, sometimes those lead to head injuries, and sometimes those are fatal. And so, we really take the fall risk and the balance issues very, very seriously.
Since you've been doing this and doing a job of educating people that, hey, there are resources out there that could help you, what have you found is maybe one of the top reasons why people who have been suffering, some for a long period of time, haven't been able to get the help that they needed?
That's a great question, and the simple answer is this. Their doctor will tell them, there's nothing that can be done for neuropathy. You're just going to have to learn to live with it. There are so many people that have heard that phrase. And you and I have had this discussion before. 8 years ago, if you asked me that, that's exactly what I would tell you, because that's what I was told and how I was trained as well. Fortunately or unfortunately, maybe divine intervention, my mother was afflicted with neuropathy and, from chemotherapy. She's a 2-time breast cancer survivor. Well, it took 30 years for the damage from the chemotherapy to affect the nerves in her feet. And so, I thought, well, actually, originally I told her there was nothing that could be done. And then I thought, you know what? It's been 20-some odd years since I was in school. Maybe things have changed. And I found a doctor that taught a protocol of how to reverse neuropathy. So I actually purchased the same protocol I put my patients through for my mother. And she'll be 94 years old in February, and she can get around and do whatever she wants to at this point. She's slowing down a little. She is 94, but she doesn't deal with the excruciating pain of neuropathy. She can stand on her feet long enough to cook. She can walk through the grocery store. She can sleep good at night. So a lot of neuropathy sufferers have poor quality of sleep. They can't stand the covers touching their feet. It wakes them up every time they move.
I can't even imagine what that's like, dealing with that day in and day out. And now to hear, if you hadn't heard before, hey, there may be something that can help you. Is there anything else that you would want people to know? If they took away nothing else from getting to hear from an expert on the subject matter here, what would be something that you want to make sure that hey, if you heard nothing else, you heard this today?
Early intervention is key. Just like cancer, just like any other disease process, the earlier you can get treatment, the better the results in a shorter period of time for less expense. And so the first symptoms a lot of people will experience, our patients tell this all the time, it feels like I've got a wrinkle in my sock, or it feels like there's a pebble in my shoe. And they keep looking and there's not. That generally, that abnormal sensation is one of the first signs that you may be going down the road of having peripheral neuropathy. So it's important to get checked early so we can get on this and so we can correct it and reverse it. Those people that do that generally have a very high potential of completely reversing their neuropathy and never having to deal with it again.
Yeah, not something to be putting off.
Not at all.
Okay, let's talk about what it looks like if people are watching today and they say, okay, I know that this is me. Now what?
Okay, so easiest thing for you to do is call the phone number on the screen right now. My staff is standing by to take your call. If you would like to see some testimonials, you can go to our website, just kind of scroll down on the home page. One of the things that you'll notice is many of those testimonials are right here on this set. They're patients that I brought here on the show before that have been able to tell their story, and so you can get an understanding of what it looks like from a patient's perspective, and instead of just what I have to say. So yeah, there we go. There's you and I on TV.
I recognize a couple of those people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's big to be, because you are able to explain to them, hey, there are things that a chiropractor could do to help reverse this that maybe my medical doctor is not able to do.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, because some people, sometimes, even in this day and age, we still deal with a little bit of discrimination against chiropractors. That has changed dramatically in my 32 years of practice. In fact, I had a patient referred to me by a medical doctor yesterday for treatment of neuropathy. So the professions are collaborating much better than they ever have, and I think that's great, and it's great for patients, but it's the difference in the way that we're trained. It's the difference in the philosophy. The doctor that began this protocol actually began with the medical profession, and it kind of fell on deaf ears. And he had a chiropractor in his family, and so he knew of the holistic nature that we're trained with. And it is basically, do everything we can to help the body heal itself. Our body knows how to do that.
Yep.
And in a neuropathy, all we have to do is make sure the proper ingredients are there. Your body still has that healing capability. So it doesn't have anything to do with the chiropractic adjustment at this point. It's making sure all those building blocks and those proper ingredients are there.
I think it's a good reminder for a lot of folks that our bodies do have healing powers. If you can tap into that, who knows what's possible for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
www.mydrkane.com, the website. The phone number is right there on your screen as well. Of course, if you have been suffering from this, give Dr. Kane a call and see if there's something that he can do for you. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to be here.
See you soon, I'm sure.
All right. Have a great day.
Stay with us here on Wave Listens Live. We've got one more great segment to go. The Louisville Sports Commission will join us. We get to preview the 2024 Urban Bourbon Half Marathon. It's coming up this weekend, so we'll get you those details after this break.
I want to show you an alternate route to get